I have played cricket for more than 25 years.
When you see at your career, I mean, there is no 100 test match next to your name. I mean, somewhere doesn't it hurt? I mean, can a player of your caliber?
Yeah, I mean, it is a big regret, definitely, as a young kid.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Express News, a show where we take you through the top news stories of the day. I'm Untitled. Let's get started. India hit out at Pakistan for its litany of lies at the UN after Islamabad's UN envoy claimed to have given a statement in the Security Council meeting not open to non-council members. Dismissing assertions that Pakistan has been a target of cross-border terrorism for decades, the Indian mission in its statement said, "A lie repeated 100 times will not become the truth." The biggest sponsor of cross-border terrorism against India now tries to false show itself as a victim of terrorism by India. Giving a strong rebuttal to Pakistan's lies, New Delhi termed Pakistan's claim that India has hired terrorists as mercenaries to hit them as laughable. Coming from a country which is a known sponsor of cross-border terrorism, which has made the world suffer due to its actions, this claim is nothing short of being preposterous. Laying bare another lie by Pakistan about Indian nationals in the 1267 Al-Qaeda sanctions list of the UN Security Council, India said the sanctions list is public and the world can see none of these individuals are in it. In a strong response to Islamabad raking up the issue of Jammu and Kashmir, India said Pakistan makes ridiculous assertions about internal affairs of India. Massive protests and a torch rally was held in Muzaffarabad city of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir yesterday night to oppose the mega dams to be constructed by Chinese firms on Neelam-Jhelum River. Recently, Pakistan and China signed agreements to construct Azad Patan and Kohala hydropower projects in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Azad Patan hydropower project of 700.7 megawatts of electricity as part of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor was signed on 6 July 2020. The $1.54 billion project will be sponsored by the China Gezuba Group company. Earlier, a massive protest rally was also held in Dadial city of POK against the load shedding and human rights violation. The rally, attended by thousands of protesters, was called by Sada-e-Haq party, who has accused Islamabad of regular power cuts, high tariffs, corruption and police brutality against civil rights campaigners. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the demise of Dome Raja of Varanasi, Jagdish Chaudhary. PM in a tweet further said, Jagdish Chaudhary was a staunch believer of the rich culture of Kashi and was an active participant of the Sanatan tradition in Varanasi. PM Modi also remembered his works for social harmony. He prayed for peace to the departed soul and strength to his family to bear the loss. Senior Congress leader Kapil Sibal, who is among the 23 party leaders who have written to Sonia Gandhi seeking an organizational overhaul, tweeted once again saying it is not about a post but about the country that matters the most. Earlier on Monday, after a marathon meeting of party's top decision-making body, the CWC urged Sonia Gandhi to continue as its interim chief till an AICC session can be convened. Sanjay Jha has also tweeted saying this is just the end of the beginning. Former Congress spokesperson Sanjay Jha was suspended from the party last month with immediate effect for anti-party activities and breach of discipline. The suspended Congress leader had earlier claimed that over 100 party leaders have signed the letter which has been sent to Sonia Gandhi demanding complete rehaul of the grand old party. Congress leader PC Chako said all regional and small parties want the leadership of the Congress to call and discuss with them. This is what they expect from Congress, but this is not happening, so they are really disappointed. 5 people lost their lives as a 5-story building in Kajalpuri locality in Raigad district of Maharashtra collapsed. Over 60 people have been rescued while few are still feared trapped in the debris. 3 National Disaster Response Force teams are engaged in rescue and relief operations. Around 50 families have been residing in the building, which is said to have been built around a decade ago. State Ministers Aditi Tatkare and Eknath Shinde visited the site. Eknath Shinde said that an FIR has been registered against the builder and all those responsible for the same won't be spared. President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the building collapse. Home Minister Amit Shah has also assured of all possible assistance. In fact, he tweeted saying the collapse of a building in Raigad, Maharashtra is very tragic. Have spoken to DG and DRF to provide all possible assistance. Teams are on the way and will be assisting with the rescue operations as soon as possible, praying for everyone's safety. Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari inaugurated and laid the foundation stones for 45 highway projects via video conferencing in Madhya Pradesh today. While addressing a gathering via video conference, Gadkari said these roads will enhance better connectivity, convenience and economic growth in and around the state. The new education policy aims for universalization of education from preschool to secondary level with 100% gross enrollment ratio in school education by 2030. NEP 2020 will bring 2 crore out-of-school children back into the mainstream through open schooling system. Pashmina has been a major occupation of tribals in the border areas of Ladakh for centuries. Situated near the Silk Route, these areas have ancient history of Pashmina and silk. NIA has filed 13,500-page charge sheet in the PULWAMA terror attack case. The National Investigation Agency has filed a charge sheet in a special court against 19 people, including Maulana Masood Azhar, the chief of the banned terror group Jaish-e-Mohammed, for planning and carrying out a deadly suicide attack on a CRPF convoy in Pulwama in South Kashmir in 2019. There is no change in the medical condition of Pranab Mukherjee since yesterday. He continues to be on ventilator support and his vital parameters are stable. Ministry of Shipping facilitates more than 1 lakh crew change in Indian ports and charter flights. India is the only country with the highest crew change in the world. Maritime sector is among the worst hit sectors due to the coronavirus pandemic. Despite that, all the Indian ports were operational and providing essential services throughout the pandemic, and the main pillar for the smooth supply chain for India and the world were the seafarers. The Supreme Court on Tuesday decided to refer to another bench the 2009 contempt case against activist lawyer Prashant Bhushan and journalist Tarun Tejpal to deal with certain larger questions related to freedom of speech and levelling of corruption charges against the judiciary. Supreme Court reserves verdict on quantum of sentence to be given to Bhushan, already convicted for contempt of court. There has been a partial improvement in flood situation in Bihar. However, the affected population has not decreased. There are still 1,333 panchayats and 130 blocks of 16 districts still facing floods. More than 83 lakhs are affected in Bihar floods. 27 people have so far died due to the current floods in Bihar. According to the Disaster Management Department, the water level of Ganga River has decreased. Still, 5 relief camps are being run in Samastipur and 1 in Khagadia, in which 5,000 people are living, whereas 1,38,000 families are being served cooked food through 174 community kitchens. According to the Met Office, there has been heavy rainfall in the catchment areas of Bagmati and Adhwara rivers in Nepal. This may impact the water level in these rivers in Bihar. The flood situation has worsened in Uttar Pradesh. As many as 1,166 villages in 17 districts have been badly affected by the floods. SHARDA River in Lakhimpur and SARYU River in Balia are flowing above the danger mark. In UP, the district administration have been instructed for arranging 1,126 boats for the rescue and relief work. 29 teams of NDRF, SDRF and police have been deployed in all affected districts. 288 medical teams are placed at various places. The water level of SARYU in Ayodhya is 25 centimeters above the danger mark. Heavy to very heavy rain has lashed many parts of Gujarat for the last few days. The incessant rain has created flood-like situations in many districts of Saurashtra and North Gujarat. Following heavy to very heavy rainfall during the last 36 hours, most of the rivers in North, Central and Saurashtra region are on spate. A red alert has been sounded in areas along the banks of the rivers. The rains increased the flow of water at Machu Dam at Morbi in the state. The Met Department has predicted that widespread rainfall with isolated heavy to very heavy falls are very likely over Odisha, Gangetic, West Bengal and Jharkhand during the next 3 to 4 days and over Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan from 26th to 28th August. India has tested over 3 crore 68 lakh COVID-19 tests so far, resolutely following its test, track, treat strategy. Rajesh Bhushan, Secretary Union Health Ministry, said the recovered cases are 3.4 times more than the active cases in the country. Equity benchmarks, Sensex and Nifty closed in the green for the third straight session on Tuesday, propelled by financial stocks amid firm global cues. After a choppy session, the BSE index ended 44.8 points or 0.12% higher at 38,843.88. The NSE Nifty inched up 5.8 points or 0.05% to close at 11,472.25. The rupee pared its early gains to settle almost flat at 74.33 against the US dollar on Tuesday, tracking muted domestic equities. Gold prices declined by 557 rupees to 52,350 rupees per 10 gram in the national capital on Tuesday, according to HDFC Securities. Silver prices also tumbled 1,606 rupees to 66,736 rupees per kilogram from its previous close of 68,342 rupees per kg. Crude oil prices on Tuesday rose by 12 rupees to 3,178 rupees per barrel as participants widened their positions on firm spot demand. 172 countries are engaging with a COVAX facility designed to ensure equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines. WHO has stressed that the unprecedented global health challenge of COVID-19 can only be met with cooperation between governments, researchers, manufacturers, and multilateral partners. COVAX's aim is to secure supplies of and deliver 2 billion doses across the countries that sign up by the end of 2021. Equitable access to vaccines, and Novavax Inc. has begun enrolling volunteers for the second phase of an ongoing clinical trial of its COVID-19 vaccine candidate, with interim data expected in the fourth quarter of 2020. In the new phase, around 1,500 healthy volunteers will be enrolled from over 40 sites in the US and Australia. Spain diagnosed 2,080 coronavirus infections in the past 24 hours, bringing the cumulative total to over 4.2 lakh. Infections have risen sharply since Spain lifted a 3-month lockdown in late June, but deaths have been much lower. UK's Education Secretary Gavin Williamson has cited a warning over the weekend from medical advisors who said that students faced bigger risks from missing out on their education than from catching COVID-19. Education Minister's comments came a day after British Prime Minister Boris Johnson called on parents to send their children back to school next month after the summer holidays. The Republican National Convention formally re-nominated US President Donald Trump as the party's presidential candidate for the November 3 election. He was re-nominated following a roll call of votes from elected Republican Party delegates from all the 50 states. Vice President Mike Pence was also re-nominated as the running mate of Trump. As police shooting of a black man sparks unrest, the governor of the U.S. state of Wisconsin has deployed the National Guard to maintain public safety. Meanwhile, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers has called a special legislative session to take up a package of bills aimed at addressing problems with law enforcement. TikTok has filed a federal lawsuit against the Trump administration, arguing that the president's 6th of August executive order to ban TikTok is unconstitutional and should be blocked from taking effect. They also termed Trump's actions as part of a broader campaign ahead of the 3rd of November US presidential elections. California braced for more lightning storms, which have sparked over 600 wildfires in the past week. Firefighters got some relief on Monday as temperatures eased off record highs. Around 2.4 lakh people are under evacuation orders or warnings across the state. Wildfires have killed at least 7 people and destroyed over 1,200 homes and other structures. After Hurricane Marco weakened, the tropical storm Laura is forecast to gain strength rapidly as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico. Storm Laura is expected to become a hurricane before hitting the Texas or Louisiana coast within 48 hours. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has sent teams to operation centers in Louisiana and Texas. The Syrian Constitutional Committee, which opened its first session in 9 months in Geneva, is currently on hold after 3 members tested positive for COVID-19. The Office of the Special Envoy will make a further announcement in due course. The UN stated that Swiss authorities had been informed and contact tracing was underway. The first night of the 4-day Republican National Convention kicked off on Monday. The convention began after Republicans earlier in the day formally backed President Donald Trump's bid for a second term. The US President's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., made the case for his father during the first night of the Republican Democratic Convention. Trump Jr. delivered an attack on Democratic rival Joe Biden. The first night's program also included remarks from more mainstream Republicans. US President Donald Trump made an off-schedule appearance during the first night of the Republican National Convention. Trump appeared standing in a room, social distancing from a group including postal workers, nurses and police officers. It appeared to be an effort to personify his administration's response to the coronavirus crisis. A Hong Kong court denied bail for the first person charged with inciting separatism and terrorism under a new national security law in the Chinese-ruled city, a landmark decision that could set a precedent for future cases. A bombing in a town on a restive southern Philippines island killed 13 and wounded over 70 people. There were soldiers and civilians among them, with Islamist militants suspected of being behind the attack. 2 explosions, believed to be homemade bombs, were triggered within 1 hour of each other in the main urban center on the island of Jolo of Philippines, a stronghold of the Abu Sayyaf, a militant group that has pledged allegiance to Islamic State. South Korea ordered closing of most schools in Seoul and surrounding areas and moved classes back online. This step was taken as a precautionary measure aimed at heading off a resurgence in coronavirus cases. Most of South Korea's schools reopened in stages between May and June. Millions of students returned to classes virtually in Mexico after a hiatus lasting months caused by the coronavirus pandemic that has sparked an exodus from private schools. The lack of both in-person teaching and access to facilities has left many parents unwilling to shoulder private school costs. Dozens of women protested at Rio de Janeiro's Legislative Assembly to demand legal abortion after a 10-year-old girl was raped and became pregnant, stirring debate in the conservative Catholic country on the issue of femicides and abortion. Brazil has strict laws on abortions. Relatives of Peru's nightclub tragedy victims mourned the loss of family members outside the city morgue in Lima as families waited for the remains of victims killed in a stampede at an illegal nightclub triggered by a police raid on Saturday. The Peruvian government has denied that the police used tear gas or weapons in the raid. World record sprinter and 8-time Olympic gold medalist Usain Bolt has tested positive for coronavirus. Bolt is self-isolating at his home in Jamaica. Last week, he celebrated his 34th birthday with a big bash, mask-free. Jamaica's health ministry confirmed late on Monday that Bolt had tested positive. Brazilian footballer Ronaldinho has been released from house arrest in Paraguay after his detention for holding a forged passport. Ronaldinho was arrested on March 6 along with his brother and business manager when they tried to enter Paraguay with adulterated Paraguayan passports. World number 1 Novak Djokovic overcame what he described as a mini neck injury and advanced to the third round of the Western and Southern Open with a 7-6, 6-4 victory against Lithuanian Ričardas Berankis. Andy Murray secured a first top 10 victory in over 3 years as he defeated 5th seed Alexander Zverev 6-3, 3-6, 7-5 and WNS Open. Murray next meets Canadian Milos Raonic. Milos Raonic defeated Daniel Evans of Great Britain 6-3, 7-5. The Canadian never faced a break point and won 89% of his points on his first serve. Raonic had 23 aces, 18 more than Evans. Daniil Medvedev launched the defense of his title with a tidy 6-4, 6-4 second round win over Marcos Giron. The Russian world number 5 will next take on Slovenian qualifier Biden. Filip Krajinovic stunned second seed Dominic Thiem 6-2, 6-1 to enter the third round. The Serbian world number 32 lost only 2 service points in the entire match. Serena Williams overcame a scare against a Dutch qualifier Arantxa Rus to reach the Western and Southern Open third round. Two-time champion Williams will play Greece's 13th seed Maria Sakkari in the third round. Fourth seed Naomi Osaka of Japan beat Carolina Muchova. Osaka will face 16th seed Ukrainian Diana Yastremska in the next round. Fifth and final day of Southampton Test is also affected by rain. Following on, Pakistan is struggling to save the match against England. Mountaineer Anita Kundu will get the Tenzing Norgay National Adventure Award on National Sports Day on the 29th of August. She is the first Indian woman to climb Mount Everest from both Indian and Chinese sides. She gave the credit for her success to her mother and her uncle. Delhi Capitals announced former Australian fast bowler Ryan Harris as their new bowling coach. The 40-year-old will join the Delhi Capitals side in the UAE for the upcoming season of the IPL. 3 National Anti-Doping Agency officials along with 6 empaneled dope control officers will be travelling to the UAE for sample collection during this year's Indian Premier League, which starts on 19 September. The agency is targeting collection of at least 50 samples. The Sports Authority of India has accepted Australian David John's resignation as the High Performance Director of Hockey India. John resigned from his post on 18th August with immediate effect, citing health safety concerns. Bayern Munich arrived back in the home city with the coveted Champions League trophy. The German side beat French club Paris Saint-Germain 1-0 in Lisbon on Sunday to lift the trophy for the 6th time. Paris Saint-Germain's squad returned home following a 1-0 Champions League final defeat to Bayern Munich on Sunday. Attentions for PSG now turn to their League One opener on Saturday. Luis Suarez may be heading for an unceremonious exit from the Camp Nou. Speculation about his future has grown since he was absent from a list of players Barca president Josep Maria Bartomeu declared were not for sale. Chelsea are closing in on a deal for Bayern Leverkusen's German attacking midfielder Kai Havertz. The deal, which could be worth up to 90 million pounds, would see Havertz join Frank Lampard's side as they continue to rebuild following a FIFA-imposed transfer ban. Formula One flashed out its 2020 calendar to 17 races on Tuesday, with the Chinese Grand Prix cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, Turkey is back on the calendar for the first time since 2011 and Bahrain is handed 2 rounds. An entertainment company has been running a Santa school for 25 years, and this year they decided to get everyone together even earlier than normal to reassure their clients and the public that it's possible to make the experience safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. Santa School have created red velvet masks with white fur trim, just like Santa's costume, to make sure everyone's nice and safe. Santas in the UK have had a training lesson to learn how they can make traditional grottos COVID safe this year. A Mike Trout rookie baseball card, which was put up for auction with a $1 million reserve, has sold for a record-breaking $3,936,000. The seller, David Wansai, bought the card in 2018 and predicted it would break the record. With the coronavirus pandemic hitting globally, South Koreans have taken to a new and extreme form of staycation, which is changing their home into their favorite vacation spots, making home camping the safest and only possible summer getaway. Executive of producers of the upcoming 72nd Emmy Award has revealed their plans on how to make the prestigious award ceremony as live and as safe as possible during COVID-19 pandemic. Unlike the previous years, there will be no audience and no red carpet. A classic live-action version of the Cartoon Network series, The Powerpuff Girls, is in development at the CW. The updated version of series, the titular superheroes in their 20s. He was the son of singer Steve Ali, and family confirmed the news in a statement posted on Facebook and Instagram. His cause of death was not made known in the statement. A short film based on lockdown titled Abhilash, which sends out a message of awareness during COVID-19 lockdown, has bagged an international award at the Bengal Lockdown Online Film Festival and emerged as the top 6 winners. The movie was about poverty-stricken people to the entire world during the pandemic. Weeks after recovering from COVID-19, megastar Amitabh Bachchan began shooting for his much-loved TV show Kaun Banega Crorepati. He shared the pictures from the sets of the show. The show began in 2000 and this is the 12th season of the show. The show is much loved by the fans of the superstar across the country. The Bang actor, who is being hailed as the Messiah for his philanthropic work, shared about his new initiative aimed at providing accommodation to the 20,000 migrant workers through application. He earlier launched a job portal, Pravasi Rozgar, to help migrant laborers. That's it then in this edition of Express News. News and updates will continue on DD News and DD India.